What we could do is all go off, and you
Yeah.
could go on to the other site and tell them to come on to this one.
No, I
Or
think
we could.
I've just emailed second email, so hopefully they can
Okay.
come. Uh,
What we could do is all go off, and
yeah.
you could go on to the other site and tell them to come on to this. What
Sorry
happened there?
again. It's just a live. uh,
I'll
my
try and
bad.
go on I think I might be able to go on my phone. Hang on.
Okay.
I can go by my phone rather than my PC. I could. Um,
And if you see them, tell them to.
No, it's okay. I think now people started to join,
yeah.
so maybe it'd be fine on this one now. Um, so I didn't check carefully yesterday. I copied the different link, so and that's how it happened.
You're trying to confuse us, Arjan.
I know. I'm already stressed out. Roof leaking, cooker
oh, God.
broken, boiler broken, heart broken as well.
Why worry?
Dear.
Uh,
If I put it
right. Okay. So maybe another 2, 3 minutes and then hopefully they join. So,
evening, Bhante.
I'm just trying to get the gleam out of my glasses. I don't think I can. Okay. See if I can.
yeah, I think they joined now. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Sorry for my mistake. Uh,
Oh, namaste, Bhante.
okay. Right. Okay. So, first of all, my apologies that I messed up with the Zoom link last night.
Right.
And if Bize didn't inform me, then I would not know. And probably I will be waiting. Oh, what's happening? Nobody turned up. So anyway, we have over 10 now. So yeah, another maybe 1 or 2 minutes wait, and then we'll start. Okay, so again, this is our day 2 with the Bhante Bodhi Dhamma, year 2 as well. Last week, Bhante spoke on joy, and I got good feedbacks from few people, and as well as a few questions, which I have already forwarded to Bhante, which probably Bhante will include in his talk. And in the meantime, as Bhante said early on, if you have any questions on Buddhism and meditation, you're welcome to send me or to Bhante directly for insight on those questions. And most importantly, need to practice. So I think we will hit the road. So I will hand over to Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you. Sorry, I just got a message. So okay, I'll start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Buddha, the blessed, noble, and fully self-awakened one. Can you make sure your microphones are off? There's one or two of you with microphones on. Yvonne, you might. Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you for these questions. They sort of give me something to talk about and allow me to be a bit more creative rather than just giving a talk. Sometimes giving a talk over the years you keep saying the same thing, really, because there aren't that many subjects. There's dependent origination, khandhas, etc., etc. So the first question that was on here was, I have a physical chronic disease illness, and I was told that meditation might help. So I wondered how meditation does help overcome suffering. Okay. So this, of course, belongs to the 4 messengers from the gods, as they're called, that woke the Buddha up to his mission, to his search for liberation, sickness, aging, and death. Yeah. As the story goes, of course, he was brought up in a very lush place, and his father protected him from all these things because some prediction had been made that he would become either a fully self-awakened Buddha or a world conqueror. So as the myth goes, he goes out and he sees an old person. He sees a sick person, doesn't see what it is, and asks, does this happen to me? And it's the same with the aging person and with the corpse. But he also sees a monk sitting under a tree, an ascetic sitting under a tree, which suggests that there might be an escape from this fate. Those things are fates in a sense. As soon as you're born into the possibility of sickness, definitely of aging. You start aging as soon as you're born, and you can't stop dying. It's just one of those things. So there's an inevitability about that. How it happens to us is another matter. So chronic pain would belong to that sort of basic unsatisfactoriness, the basic hard to bear part of life. We can also talk about the consequences of indulgence, but here we'll just stick to suffering, unsatisfactoriness. So in the Buddhist teaching, the body and mind are 2 different energy forms. If you are a scientific materialist and believe it's just all brain, this works for you anyway, right? But in Buddhist in traditional Buddhist understanding, the body and mind are 2 different forms of energy that sort of meld completely, a bit like when you put milk in tea. They're completely intertwined. So it all works anyway from this point of view. So let's take an illness. I know somebody who has developed Parkinson's. Parkinson's has physical problems, and it all stems from the brain no longer producing dopamine. And dopamine is the hormone that gets you motivated. So even though somebody with Parkinson's knows it's really good to do exercise, they can't get that motivation going. So here we have that quality of a physical disease, but there's a mental quality to it, which is about motivation, which is about decision making, about getting up and doing something. And these 2 sort of are intertwined, right? So if we now pull them apart, then you can see they're 2 different processes. And one obvious process that you can do, which makes it fairly clear to you, is when you're eating. If at breakfast in the morning, when your appetite's quite high, when you put that first porridge or bran flakes or whatever you have on the tongue, drive your attention into the tongue and be very clear that what you're experiencing are sensations that are based upon a physical base, the tongue, right? And then when that's really, really clear, if you pull back a bit, you'll see that there's an emotional envelope around it, an emotional cloud. Hopefully you're happy, right? If you're not, you should change the food. You're supposed to be happy when you eat. So there's this sort of contentment or this joy that arises when we eat. Now, and then you realize, well, the joy is of a different nature. It has a different quality. It has a different feel to the very basic physical qualities of eating. So it is with a chronic illness, depending on what it is. There's a real physical base, which the person feels, right? They've got to work. They're with them. And as a chronic thing is different from obviously something that you might have just occasionally. It's there with you all the time. You might get little breaks. You might be able to take analgesics, which sort of soften it, but it's always there. And so this presents a much bigger problem than somebody who's having a transitory pain, or they've had some bad time where there's a lot of pain. For instance, last couple of years back, I had a very bad prolapse disc, and I couldn't actually walk because every time I put my foot down, the pain was excruciating. So that lasted for about 2 or 3 months, and it was good teaching. But I don't want it to happen again. But it went. I mean, I've still got back problems, but they're fine. So here you have this chronic condition, and you begin to realize that you have a relationship with it. Okay, so there's your first separation. The first one we can call basic dukkha, right? Basic unsatisfaction as basic suffering. But then there is this other dukkha, this other mental state, which is arising out of your relationship with the pain, and that is to do with what the Buddha calls this tanha, right? This attachment, this wanting everything to be other when it's not the way you want it. So the meditation, it says, the meditation is really making that very obvious to yourself. So you might sit with that pain in meditation and feel the aversion that you have towards it. You have to feel that aversion. You don't push it away. You actually feel it. And as you feel, so there's your pain, and there's that wanting to get away from it. Yeah. You stay there with that complex, with the pain itself and that feeling of wanting to escape it, wanting to ignore it or do something. And you begin to realize, or you begin to experience this as being very separate from the pain. This is a mental process as opposed to a physical process. And when that becomes more and more clear to you, because you're looking at this process, something else has happened. You've sort of entered into a space within yourself, like an observation post, where you're watching this process and you're not engaged in it. You've objectified it. Now, at that point of objectification, you can stop for a minute internally and recognize that these are objects of your awareness. They're objects of your awareness, right? And when you maintain that position where you're just investigating it, by which I mean you're experiencing it, right? This aversion will slowly begin to die away because you're not empowering it, right? As soon as the aversion comes up and we react with it, we say, oh, I don't want that, I don't want that. You're actually developing that attitude of aversion more. It's only when you can pull back from it and watch the aversion and allow the aversion to die away that habit of pushing away what is unpleasant is slowly being undermined. Now, it might be that while you're watching the feeling of the chronic disease or any pain actually, and you've got this reaction and the reaction dies away, you might discover that actually the chronic pain isn't as bad as you thought it was. It's the aversion that's creating this layer of unacceptability, of feeling that it's an imposition upon you, right? And taking that layer of pain away caused by that wrong relationship allows you to be with the original physical pain in a much calmer, open way. When you get to that point, you can now open up your heart to it. You can hold it with a kindly embrace and recognize that a part of the body is not well. And that changes your attitude completely to your body. Now you're a carer. You're not trying to get rid of it. You're not trying to commit little suicides and trying to abandon these things. You're actually holding it with that calm embrace. And your relationship now allows you to be with what is painful in a loving manner, which is not painful. And that's the release from that suffering that we get when we have pain. Now, sometimes the pain is actually caused by the mind. As you know, things like headaches, blood pressure. Well, actually, blood pressure doesn't hurt. It just kills you. Headaches, nausea, even serious illnesses can be caused by the mind, right? What's the word? Just a minute. Body. It's gone. The word's gone. Now, this doesn't happen very often, right? But it's a very good example of how the mind affects the body and how through meditation and the cleansing of the mind, the body becomes healed. When the Mahasi Sayadaw of Burma began to teach in Rangoon, Yangon, I should say these days, there were many lay people came, and there was a tremendous enthusiasm for the practice. And there was one man who came. Actually, there's a book of all the different healings that went on during that time. It's on the web somewhere. But there's this very dramatic example where a man comes with stomach cancer and he sits with the pain, just like I've been saying. He just sits with the pain, goes into the pain, allows the pain to be the pain, not knowing what the cancer is caused by. And as he says it himself, there was an explosion in his stomach and the cancer disappeared. That explosion was the mind, whatever was ever being held in the stomach. When once released, the body could heal itself. So we get it in a much lesser sense when, for instance, we're tense and we can start feeling the headache coming and we just relax and sit back. And because the tension goes, the headache disappears. So there's that, again, that intimate relationship between the body and the mind. But of course, I don't know, I wouldn't put a percentage on it, but I should think a greater percentage of our suffering comes from the physical body. When it comes to illnesses, it's a physical thing. So again, it's this ability to sit with it, to see the aversion is only causing more suffering, to allow that aversion to pass away, and in the space that's created, to open up to the pain and to hold it in a loving embrace. Having done that, you then, as it were, if you're using the Mahasi technique, you'd be saying things like pain, pain, so that you're quite clear this is pain. And then at some point, you would bury your attention into the pain. You go into the pain. My teacher used to say, plunge into the pain. When you do that, the word pain disappears. And what you're experiencing are basic sensations: tightness, heat, agitation, whatever is there as a basic sense base, the basic sensations that come. And when you're down at that level, you can see impermanence very simply, because they're just there in front of you, all these little arising and passing away of sensations. And when you are at that level too, you realize that this doesn't have any substance, right? It isn't a self, right? And then when you come out from that position and you sort of come back into yourself a bit, the word pain comes up again. So now you know pain is a mental construct. It doesn't actually exist. What actually exists are these sensations. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we can forget the word pain, because you need to know when to go to the doctor. But you begin to realize how we construct the world. And then once we've got pain, we've got our learnt response of pushing it away or doing something, of not liking it, getting into an antagonism with it. And that's when we move into that position of observing it, distancing it, observing it, waiting for it to die away. And you'll be surprised if you practice that fairly regularly, even by the end of the week, you might find that actually you're becoming, shall we say, more peaceful, more calm with the pain, more at ease with it. So that's the sort of psychology, the Buddhist psychology around it, and how Vipassana works. Now, that's when you're sitting, right? These are exercises you do when you're sitting, but it's something you can take with you in ordinary daily life. So every time you become aware of the pain, relax, see that reaction, let the reaction go, and just keep on doing what you're doing. So it becomes a habit, right? Now, these habits are not specific to the object. It's not as though we're averse to this pain and to none other. Aversion is an attitude that we have towards anything we dislike. So if you undermine aversion towards a particular pain, you're undermining aversion towards everything that you find painful, even people, right? Yeah. Even people become more acceptable through the process of letting this aversion arise and pass away, and then in that space opening up your heart. So that I hope gives you some idea of how meditation helps with pain. It doesn't overcome it, just helps it. Are there any questions that have come out of that? It's all been clear and wonderful. Fantastic.
There is a
Okay.
There's a question.
one.
Can I ask you a question, Bhante?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Bhante, it's very interesting, this story you told us about a man with cancer in the stomach. Many years ago, I don't know if you know Bhikshu Pesala.
Oh, yes.
He also trained with Mahasi Sadhu. He gave me a booklet entitled Healing Through Insight Meditation.
There we are. You've got it.
And in that booklet is described by a cardiac nurse from Burma who did intense meditation to get well from most of her illness, including a tumor in her throat. In fact, she left her job in the cardiac unit, went to the monastery, not to Mahasi Sadhu's, other one, and she did intense meditation for 2-3 years, and the tumor disappeared.
Oh.
And I asked Bhante Pesala if I can apply that. He said, you try. Because right now, Bhante, for 1.5 months, like the person who asked the question, I'm having pain because of cervical spondylosis in my neck and the shoulder.
Okay.
And now I have difficulty sitting and meditating. So besides following the medical advice, what I try to do is try to relax my muscles by a position called Savasana. That's one of the yoga and meditation. That seems to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting one day you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all for doing whatever we can to get rid of physical pain. I mean,
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah, you're right. It's a mental problem, emotional problem is another one. Yeah.
I want to. Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing it, Bhante. Thank you.
No, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I've spent quite a bit of time on that. The next 2 questions I'd like to do next week, actually, because they're quite they're quite to the point. Like, what is the best form of meditation in a hectic world? Do you think that enlightenment is possible in the modern day? So I'd like to answer those questions next week, since we've spent so much time here. Is it? Oh, it's already 26. Okay. I hope you don't mind. The other question too, I can leave. How do you overcome sleepiness while meditating? I'll just give you a quick indication. As soon as you feel that sleepiness coming on, you can just open your eyes, right? And let the light in. That helps. And sometimes you have to stand up a little bit and sit back down. But it's something that we can go a little bit deeper into in the next week. Not next week, maybe the week after. So please keep these questions coming. I'll try and give a sort of full answer around them rather than just quick takeaways. Is that all right? Yeah, fantastic. Nobody's upset? No, very good. Okay. So we can do we do refuges and precepts now? I think we do. Yes, that's right. So we do refuges and precepts, and then we'd sit a little bit, do the metta, but I would also like to do that joy exercise. These days we do need to get a bit of joy going, you know. So you can just chant with me. Has everybody got their phones off? Drew, can you take your phone off? I think Sachitan, can you take your phone? Oh no, you've got it off. Okay. Good, it's just me, isn't it? Yeah. Namo tassa bhagavato harahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato harahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato harahato samma sambuddhassa. Bodhang saranang gacchami. Dhammam saranang gacchami. Sangham saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi bodhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammam saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sangham saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi bodhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammam saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sangham saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu michachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sura Mereya Majja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Idame Sila Maggapalanyanasa Pachayotu. Having taken the refuges and precepts, quoting the final words of the Buddha, strive diligently for your liberation. So we can sit for a while. So I always think at the end of a session, just to be able to reflect upon what we experienced. Were we committed to coming back to the present moment? Which of the three characteristics was most obvious to us? Was it this process of desire, unwholesome desire, wanting, not wanting? Or was it impermanence? What was it, that sense of everything happening of its own accord, not under our direct control? The mind just thinking, the heart with its emotions, the body with its sensations. Having made this little reflection, perhaps you can form a resolution. So, for instance, if you were feeling dozy or tired, and you feel you could have been more active in being awake, so you'll make a resolution. Next time I feel dozy and tired, I'll open my eyes, I'll stand up. So we can begin our metta practice. The traditional blessings are the ones that are generally used. May you be safe, well, and happy. And may you live contented in harmony with the world. So it's good to bring somebody to mind who warms the heart. And as soon as you think of that person, that's what happens. And you can use it as a sort of touchstone. Keep going back to it just to keep the heart offering that loving kindness. But remember, it's not absolutely necessary, because we're making these good wishes, these acts of will, and that's what's creating an attitude. So just bringing to mind somebody who warms the heart. May you be safe, well, and happy. May you live contented in harmony with the world. Bringing to mind a benefactor. Those who are near and dear to us. Friends, people at work, whomever we wish. Bring to mind someone we see but don't know. turning that stream of loving kindness towards ourselves. And into the heart of goodwill, anyone we're having difficulties with. Radiating outwardly, first of all, to each other, our present spiritual companion. May we and from there, radiating outward to anybody else who's in our home and outward towards our neighbors and neighborhood. And from there to all the people in our country. To all the peoples of Europe. To all people on earth. And to all beings in all directions. And in the same method, to develop our sense of joy, to bring to mind someone who naturally brings joy to our heart. May you be joyful. May you be ever more joyful. May you experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. Bringing to mind someone who's helped us in our lives. May you be joyful. May you be ever more joyful. May you experience the sublime happiness of Nibbana. All those who are near and dear to us, friends, people at work, whomever we wish. Bringing to mind a neutral person, someone we see but don't know. Turning towards ourselves, offering ourselves joy. Radiating outward to each other, our present spiritual companions. And to anybody else who's in our home, outward towards our neighbors, to the whole neighborhood. All the people in our country. All the peoples of Europe. All people on earth. And finally, to all beings in all directions. May all beings be happy. Sabe sata sukita hantu. Sabe sata sukita hantu. Sabe sata sukita hantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very good. Thank you for the evening. Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for the wonderful guidance and the instructions. And thank you everyone for attending today. And apologies for those who couldn't make it today due to the link messed up. So
No problem.
hopefully we'll see you next week again. I will send new email again. So thank you very much, Bhante.
Yes, any questions, keep hammering them home. Thank you. Toodaloo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you everyone for your participation, and we'll see you next week. Keep practicing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.